Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. Government waste. This is always a hot button topic. I'm going to give you some real talk on just the goings on in my area. As you can see, there's a work team with those big spools and stuff like that in my area right now. Supposedly, they're upgrading the facilities. Now, the reason why this is a problem, and this was in their newsletter to the town, which I do appreciate the corporation, not the city, this one's on the corporation. I appreciate them printing it up and giving it out to us. They're upgrading, I guess, the fiber optic or whatever the latest, coolest thing is in our neighborhood. But the one thing that bothers me is they said we're going to have to cut in to certain lawns and stuff like that. Well, two problems with that. They did that, the city did that 2 years ago and finished up in November in Canada. So they laid down sod, and if you look at my driveway, just off to the bottom left there, you'll notice that my sod doesn't go down to the driveway because putting sod on top of pavement in November is not a winning strategy. So it's Bell, I'll tell you that. Here's Bell just a couple years later doing the same thing, except they're planning to lay their sod in January. This is late November, early December. Can you imagine what January is going to be like? What a colossal waste of time. And like I said, 2 years ago, they just flopped that sod down, and I had to pick the darn thing up because it was like Martian soil. It was just not going to grow one tiny bit, and I gave it as much of a chance as I could. Another possible waste of money is, I don't know if you can see, let me see if I can scoot this over. Yeah, that large gray building to the left of your screen. Behind that is a police station. I don't know if it's the biggest in the area, but it's definitely one of the most popular. They're renovating it so that they can have a safe injection site and where you can get free needles and all that sort of things. A lot of people are, of course, screaming, look at the area. This is high-density family territory. What do we need with druggies in the area? First of all, where else are we going to put it? The only other places are pretty inconvenient, and if things are inconvenient, they're not going to use them. With a police station right there, you can't ask for a better spot to put it because people are going to go there and trust that the police are enforcing their safety. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a camera or two there just to make sure that nobody who uses the safe injection site is going to do crazy stuff. But everybody's up in arms about it. You know me, I like looking up statistics. And fortunately, they had a commercial sponsored by the government. In Canada, we get 7 overdoses per year. That's 7 out of 40 million. 40 million people, 7 overdose. While I'd love the number to be 0, most of the overdoses are not taking place because some druggies decided to binge on their supply of crack crocodile or whatever the latest designer drug is. I don't know, I'm not part of that scene. But there's also overdoses that take place because there's tragic reasons that I could list you. Little old lady forgets whether she took her dose, or little old me forgets that he took his dose because he's a dope someday. And yeah, fortunately, none of my medication is lethal if I take too much. But there are other people that they have to take certain doses. My grandmother, towards the end of her life, had a blister tray. And it had sections for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And she had blisters where you pop the blisters and you get your medication. I think giving that to an older person is a little bit cruel because those blister packs are annoying for everybody. But it's a better idea than just shoving pills across the counter and saying, have a good day. I don't have a problem with people using that stuff in my area because I know those drugs are going to be consumed anyway. A matter of fact, if I could avoid a lawsuit on the matter, I could point to the houses where I know it's happening. But they do their stuff, they go back inside, and they're not roaming around the area at 2 o'clock in the morning shouting whatever sports team has won or whatever it is. No, it hasn't. But having the safe injection site, it's a small step forward. But people are going to do whatever it is, whether you like it or not. At least this way you're facilitating it in a safe manner. Now, the last waste of time and government money I would like to point you to are, what's a good way to put this? Well, malls, to be precise. Shopping malls are dying, and nobody's investing in them properly. You could turn the whole thing into one big giant safe injection site, but that would probably not be wise. I was reminded of this because one of the YouTube channels I watch actually was doing kind of a special on malls in the area that had shut down, but were still part of the underground roadway. Now, the underground roadway is what we use to get from point A to point B when it's minus 40 degrees and frozen outside. I remember back in the 90s, these things were basically one food court connected to the next food court, and you could hopscotch your way pretty much all over half a downtown. You had to know what you were doing because they didn't advertise this way to the Cumberland Mall. It would be, if you go through those doors, then you're in the Cumberland Mall food terrace. And by doing that, you could skip, from Dundas straight up to Bloor. As far as I know, I probably don't have the knowledge of the whole system, but we still have these places open for underground access. What a waste of a resource. These things, of course, are probably going to be broken down and used as condos because that space is so valuable. But we're missing out on so many opportunities, and it's because malls are dying. I said yesterday about self-checkout areas are dying. Well, malls are dying a lot longer. When they opened the new expansion for the BCC, I remember I went in there with my girlfriend at the time, and we noticed the endless chain of jewelry shops. Now, the city that I live in is not as big as Toronto, but it's hefty. It's got a couple million here. But even a couple million is not going to support all those jewelry shops. And as I predicted back in 2010, it was not going to make it very long. And sadly, I was right. You can't have that many niche industries in your area. But what are we going to do with these giant warehouse-sized shops? When Sears shut down, so many places went with it. And there's nothing we can do about attracting more anchor tenants since Target tried to expand up here but failed due to a myriad of reasons that maybe I'll go into one day. But the most important thing is we have this area. We have reasons to need it. People are always going to need to buy clothes. People are always going to need to buy groceries. But some of it could probably be taken over and used for affordable housing. Yet you don't want to know what those condos that you're looking at are worth. And let's just say it would shock you. This would be a positive use of local money. But nope. we've got to let Bell go around and do their thing instead. We need a safe injection site. And like I said, I'm not saying not in my backyard. I'm one of the few that's willing to say, yeah, put it over there, right behind that left building, on the other side of a hugely busy highway. Let high people do what high people are going to do. The point is, we've got to reconstruct ourselves from the 1990s to 2023. Actually, we need to future-proof it out to 2050. And what we need are places to work, places to shop, and places to live. We don't have nearly enough of any one of them. And that's why all these malls get overwhelmed at this time of year. And then first week in January, deader than a doornail. Thought for another time. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show, which took far many takes for me to get down. If you have the time, it would be fantastic to show support by liking this episode, sharing it, commenting down below, and clicking the bell icon so that way you're notified every episode that we put out. We hope you have a fantastic day.